Responsibility is not disappearing. It is being selected against. That sounds extreme, but if you observe modern behavior patterns carefully, you will notice something consistent. The environments we built no longer reward personal accountability the way small tribal systems once did. For most of human evolution, responsibility was immediate and visible. If you failed to contribute to the group, everyone knew. If you made a mistake that endangered others, consequences followed quickly. If you avoided your role, your status dropped. There was no abstraction between action and outcome. Small groups enforced accountability because survival required it. Modern systems changed that equation. Today, responsibility is diluted by scale. Corporations distribute blame across departments. Governments distribute failure across millions. Online platforms distribute outrage across anonymous users. When responsibility becomes shared among thousands, the psychological weight of individual ownership decreases. If everyone is partially responsible, no one feels fully responsible. This is not a moral decline. It is incentive recalibration. In ancestral environments, accountability increased status. Competence and reliability were survival traits. Individuals who consistently owned their actions gained trust. Trust translated into access, resources, alliances, reproductive opportunity. Responsibility was adaptive. In modern mass systems, the link between responsibility and reward is weaker. Visibility has changed. Now status can be gained through signaling, performance, outrage, or narrative control, rather than consistent contribution. You can build influence without demonstrating reliability inside a small interdependent group. That shift alters behavior. Another variable intensifies the effect: comfort. In environments with high resource security, immediate survival pressure decreases. When survival pressure decreases, the cost of irresponsibility drops. If your mistake does not directly threaten food, shelter, or physical safety, your nervous system does not register it as urgent. Evolution shaped us to respond strongly to direct threats. It did not shape us to respond equally strongly to abstract long-term consequences. Modern irresponsibility often carries delayed consequences. Debt compounds quietly. Health deteriorates gradually. Skill erosion happens invisibly. Relationship breakdown builds slowly. Because the feedback is delayed, behavioral correction is delayed. We are wired for immediacy. Modern consequences are often statistical. There is also a reputational shift. In small tribes, reputation was local and persistent. You could not easily relocate your identity. If you developed a pattern of unreliability, it followed you. In modern societies, mobility is high. Social circles change. Digital identities can be curated. Failure can be reframed or redirected. When reputational permanence decreases, accountability pressure decreases. Another factor is narrative insulation. Modern discourse often prioritizes external explanation over internal correction. Structural factors are real. Systems influence behavior. But when explanation becomes default, responsibility weakens. The human brain prefers external attribution because it protects self-image. Self-blame creates psychological discomfort. External blame preserves identity. In ancestral hierarchies, competence determined status more directly. Physical strength, hunting ability, protection capacity, strategic intelligence, these were visible and measurable. If you underperformed, your rank reflected it. Modern hierarchies are more complex. Symbolic capital matters. Social alignment matters. Verbal framing matters. Status can be influenced through perception management. This increases the strategic value of explanation over correction. If perception is negotiable, accountability becomes negotiable. There is also a diffusion effect in large systems known in behavioral science as responsibility dilution. When many individuals are present, each assumes someone else will act. This is not cowardice. It is cognitive load reduction. The brain conserves energy by assuming distribution. Scale creates psychological distance. Distance reduces urgency. Reduced urgency lowers action. Add digital environments to the equation. Online interactions often lack immediate consequences. Statements can be made without physical cost. Commitments can be broken without direct confrontation. The absence of embodied accountability weakens internal restraint mechanisms. We evolved for face-to-face consequence, not algorithmic feedback. But the most significant shift may be this: modern identity structures are fragile. When identity becomes central to psychological stability, admitting fault feels threatening. If you attach your worth to being correct, strong, informed, or morally superior, acknowledging error risks destabilizing the foundation. The brain interprets this as threat. Avoidance becomes defensive adaptation. In environments where status is linked to perceived competence rather than demonstrated reliability, protecting image can outweigh correcting behavior. This creates a feedback loop: less responsibility taken, more narrative justification required, greater psychological investment in avoidance. Over time, the culture normalizes it. But there is a paradox. Although modern systems make responsibility easier to avoid, they also make individual accountability more powerful for those who adopt it. In a landscape saturated with deflection, ownership stands out. Reliability becomes rare. Rarity increases value. In competitive hierarchies, differentiation matters. If most people externalize failure, the minority who internalize correction compound advantage. They improve faster. They build trust faster. They rise in status within any serious structure that still values competence. Responsibility is not outdated. It is underutilized. The environment does not force avoidance. It permits it. And permission is enough for many. But biological reality has not changed. Groups still depend on reliable individuals. Organizations still reward competence at higher tiers. Long-term alliances still require trust. Even in modern complexity, stable hierarchies form around those who consistently deliver and correct themselves. Short-term systems may tolerate avoidance. Long-term systems select against it. The question is not why modern people avoid responsibility. The mechanisms are clear: scale, comfort, diffusion, narrative insulation, delayed consequence, identity fragility. The real question is whether you align yourself with the dominant drift or the minority pattern that compounds. Because evolution does not reward comfort. It rewards adaptation. And in every era, the individuals who accept responsibility early gain disproportionate leverage later. Modern systems may cushion failure, but hierarchy still recalibrates. Always.